What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction. Back with some anime soundtrack. That is to say, we're going to listen to a tune from the soundtrack to the anime Akuma no Riddle, or Riddle Story of Devil, which is based on a manga. And as you can see, I do have the manga. In Japanese, it was published in serial form between 2012 and 2016. And I think a year or two after that, like 2017, it was translated into English and released here. I picked it up because a friend of mine who I had talked to about Death Note and some other darker anime slash manga, he mentioned to me that, oh, if you like Death Note, you might want to check out Akuma no Riddle, because there's a darkness to it, but it's also profound or inspiring in different ways. And so I eventually found the manga. I got it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very compelling. I was sort of gripped as I was going through the drama. And eventually I discovered that it was released as an anime. So I got this box set a while back, but I didn't watch it until recently. Michaela has seen it as well. And when I watched it, I was, number one, just impressed by the degree to which they take the manga material and then, again, add great voice acting and music and all the things that a visual entertainment can give you that a written entertainment can't. So that's not a knock on manga or books, certainly. But as I've often said, a movie and or a TV show can just do things and add atmosphere that your brain has to do alone and without your other senses when you're reading. So yes, I think it's a, number one, faithful translation of the manga into an anime, though there are some differences, and indeed, after I watched, I had to go back and check, and one notable difference is in the manga, at the very end, they give you a bit of an epilogue multiple years later, whereas in the anime, they don't do that. So, yes, there are some differences, but it is very faithfully recaptured in the anime production. And the voice acting, again, is very good. The music is fantastic. And I want to make sure I get this right. I actually had to open up the Akuma no Riddle wiki just to make sure. But yes, there's two soundtracks, actually. There's one, which I was able to find it online, which is a score, and that is all composed by Fujisawa Yoshiaki. But there's also a second soundtrack out there, which features all of the end credit theme songs, as well as the opening credit theme song. Now, the opening credit theme song is the same all the way through the series, but each episode has a different end credit theme song that has lyrics related to one or more of the characters. And I didn't even know this when I was watching. All of the end credit theme songs are sung by different voice actresses in the show. So yeah, it's just a very nice production regarding the soundtrack specifically, even if I only have the first soundtrack currently. I'll see what I can do about getting the second one, because the theme songs, the end credit theme songs, are definitely good and worth a listen. And the score soundtrack, again by Fujisawa Yoshiaki, it blends classical elements with electronic sounds. It has that cinema music type of atmosphere, meaning it's, very dramatic and, seemingly is just made to be set to action scenes and so on. Long story short, the manga and the anime are about a group of young female assassins who are part of this secret division within this elite school. And nobody else at the school knows that there's actually an assassin school that's, a sort of department within this school, even if the higher-ups are obviously aware of this. And one of the cool things I think they do in the anime is any kid or any student at the university who's not part of this assassin subdivision of the school, they're shown in black and white. So you get a real sense really early on that people who are just kind of background to the main story are shown, they're depicted in a way that indicates that. And it's sort of a nice stylistic choice. And the main character, Azuma Tokaku, she is very closed off. She's very sort of sharp emotionally and, sort of keeps to herself, but she's a very intense, like, mental life and so on. Now, you find there's reasons for that and things that happen to her family, and I won't spoil anything for anyone who wants to watch. But bottom line, the 13 female students of this assassin school, eventually get told that their goal is to kill one of the 13 students. So 12 of them are basically given an assignment to kill the 13th student. And again, without spoiling anything, it gets very dramatic and there's lots of surprising developments along the way. But the main essence of the story is that Azuma decides not to kill that 13th student, but she actually wants to protect her. So it's essentially 11 other students trying to kill one of the students, and the main character is trying to protect that one student who's been listed as the target. So yes, again, I'm trying to dance around the elements of the plot carefully so that it's not spoiled for anyone who wants to check it out, but I would highly recommend both the manga and the anime. This is the Tokaku Azuma Tokaku character you can see here. She very much looks like the way she is, and then both here in the manga and here in the anime, she's with the character that she's decided to protect. So that's the essence. Now we're going to listen to one of the tracks from the first soundtrack CD, and make sure I have the translation correct, because when I downloaded this, all of the tracks were written in kanji or hiragana. So yes, it's called Only One Guidepost, or at least that's the way it's translated into English. It's pretty short, but you'll get a sense of how dramatic the show is through this track. So here we go, a track by Fujisawa Yoshiaki from the Akuma no Riddle soundtrack, and the anime is from 2014. So they actually made the anime while the manga was still ongoing, which I suppose might account for the reason that it ends a bit differently than the manga, even if maybe the manga artist or the manga writer told the people working on the anime how she envisioned it to end, because it is very similar, but there is some difference. So here we go. The track is Only One Guidepost by Fujisawa Yoshiaki. Incredible. Again, you get a sense that is pretty dramatic. There's a lot of action in the show, but there's also a lot of personal drama, a lot of emotional drama, and you never quite know what a given character is going to do. There's definitely some turns or some surprises along the way, and of course there's a lot of mystery in terms of who's running the school, why the class has been set up, all seemingly for the purpose of targeting one of the students who's been put into the class. And yes, we do get answers to those questions. There's still one or two things that I think are left a little bit ambiguous in the anime, and I haven't gone through the entire manga again after reading it years ago, but I do think it's the same in the manga, where there's just some details that, are, for lack of a better phrase, just so. But I do think, again, many of the main mysteries over the course of the story are answered. And as I said, in the manga we do get a bit of a, years later, which the anime doesn't do. Though the anime has a very funny bonus episode. Like, the normal story ends and there's a 13th episode which is largely comedy, and it's very enjoyable, and it's like a very different tone than the rest of the show, which I enjoyed. I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, that is fun. So basically, check out the manga, check out the anime. They're both worth it. There are a number of great tracks in this soundtrack, and as I said, I'll see in the coming months if I can somehow track down a copy of the second song soundtrack, because that is worth listening to as well. But yeah, plenty more in the score soundtrack to go through. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.